Now let's get this induction ceremony underway.
If we call your attention to the screen for a short video talking about the Aces.
Starting in the early 1950s, the Aces were one of Chicago's premier blues combos. Over the decades, they were the foundation for live and recorded performances by the giants of blues. Originally from Byhalia, Mississippi, brothers Louis and Dave Meyer transplanted to Chicago in 1941, where they befriended Fred Below and formed the group. In their musical journey, the Aces recorded with Junior Wells and Little Walter in the early 1950s, while building a reputation as a young touring band. In their careers, they played behind numerous blues legends including Sonny Boy Williamson, Howlin Wolf, Muddy Waters, Koko Taylor, Otis Rush, John Lee Hooker, and more.
Please welcome Dick Sherman to the stage to induct the Aces.
Thank you all for being here. This is always a wonderful night, my favorite part of the Blues Music Awards weekend, and Louis Myers was the first guy who took me under his wing, so this one means extra to me, so I appreciate the opportunity to say these words. The Aces were so deservedly prolific over 4 decades together and separately that it's hard to keep a testimonial brief, not even just for me, when each member has a staggering individual resume, which is also Hall of Fame worthy. We'll just hit a few highlights of their work together as a unit who will always epitomize a tight, driving, and swinging Chicago blues band. Brothers Louis and Dave Myers arrived in Chicago steeped in country blues by their parents. Lonnie Johnson lived in the basement of their building but ran the boys off when they listened to him practice. According to Dave, another guitarist in the neighborhood and a Chicago blues great himself, Lee Cooper, taught them how to play together by showing them separate parts that locked when they played them simultaneously. The Myers brothers went on to become the template for 2 guitar tandems, even singled out for praise by Keith Richards in his autobiography. Louis also became one of the top Chicago harmonica players. It's well known how the brothers indoctrinated drummer Fred Below, fresh out of the Army and a product of the storied DuSable High School jazz program, into the blues. Below's unerring blend of blues power and jazz suppleness, Dave's rock-solid foundation that earned him the nickname The Thumper, even before he gravitated to the then-new electric bass in the 1950s, and Lewis's deft fills and chords were a potent package that made magic in support of Junior Wells, Little Walter, and many others, and brought Otis Rush into the local spotlight, leaving their stamp on numerous definitive peaks of recorded Chicago blues. But eventually it all changed. When I got to Chicago in 1968, Louis was playing for go-go dancers at a mob joint in Old Town. Below was working in a pit band at a burlesque theater. Dave was working his longtime day job at Keebler Foods and freelancing. Later that year, Swiss entrepreneur Willie Leiser reached out to Below about reuniting the Aces for European work. After Louis and Below spent the next summer touring with Charlie Musselwhite, they quickly reassumed their place together as the Chicago blues backing band of choice. For a few years, it seemed like they were touring and recording constantly in Europe and Japan. You can hear them together on recordings from that time period under their own name and in support of Robert Jr., Lockwood, Muddy Waters, Jimmy Rogers, William Avon, Sunnyland Slim, Koko Taylor, Mickey Baker, even Louis Jordan and Lightning Slim, just for starters. In Chicago, their home base, Louise's South Park Lounge at 69th and King Drive, was a must for fans and musicians, especially the Blue Monday jams. But eventually they went separate ways, and Below's health showed worrisome signs. All 3 Aces remained stalwarts, but seldom together. There was a final blaze of glory on a June 1988 afternoon at the Chicago Blues Festival, when the band reassembled for what everyone knew would be the last time. Robert Lockwood pushed his gear a block through the crowd to join them for a reminder of their individual and collective greatness. 2 months later, Bilo was gone. By that time, Lewis was scuffling increasingly. For a while, he delivered heavy appliances for Goldblatt's. He had a severe stroke and passed away in a nursing home in 1994, just shy of his 65th birthday. Junior Wells bought him a headstone. Dave Myers had some enjoyable sunset years as a revered elder, emphasizing his old school guitar and vocal, taking his regular seat at the card table at the checkerboard, and hanging out in the clubs until diabetes took its ultimate toll, and he died in 2001. But their hundreds of recordings and the ongoing adaptations they've inspired live on, and the Aces remain the standard for how a sympathetic, flexible, and authoritative Chicago blues band is supposed to sound. Lewis's daughter Tracy wanted to be here. She's had some travel delays. We're hoping she'll be here later, but at least we're glad she's going to be here for this. And let's all remember the Aces one more time.